it's Christina. Welcome back to Chriskayoga. In today's video, I will be showing you how I like to use yoga props. There are a lot of different yoga props out there, but in today's video, I will be discussing yoga blocks, a yoga strap, and a yoga blanket. I discussed my favorite ones in my yoga favorites video, among other things, so if you haven't seen that yet, I will leave a link on the screen and in the description box as well. Let's begin by talking about how to use blocks. In my favorites video, I discussed the difference between foam and cork blocks, so if you want to learn more about that, definitely check that video out. Blocks are basically used to literally bring the floor up to you. Let's say you're doing a forward bend in any posture and you have tight hamstrings, which prevents you from being able to touch the ground. If you have yoga blocks, you can place them under where your hands would be on the floor and place your hands on the blocks. This allows your hands to be anchored down and grounded as opposed to dangling in the air, which in turn will protect your back, hips, and hamstrings, among other things. Depending on your personal flexibility, you can change the facets of the blocks as well. You can use it on the tallest height that's shown in this clip. You can change it to the medium height that's shown in this clip. And then you can change it also to the shortest height that is shown in this clip. To my knowledge, blocks are most often used in standing poses to ground your hands down, as I stated earlier, providing you with more ease while you're doing your standing poses. But in certain cases and circumstances, you can use them for seated postures as well. If you're in need of some height during your seated poses, you can sit on top of the block as shown here, and it creates a lot more length in your hip joint. Blankets do the same, and I'll talk more about that in a bit, but blocks provide you with something a bit firmer if needed. You can also use them in many different restorative postures as well, such as restorative bridge and constructive rest. They can be used at any of the heights as shown earlier, and they can also be stacked on top of each other if needed. Just be sure that if you use the blocks in this way, to place the block right underneath your sacrum and not underneath your lumbar spine. If you're unfamiliar with the structure of your spine, take a look at this image here that I found on Pinterest from healthpages.com. I'll leave the source in the description box below. Let's move on to talk about straps. You can get your strap in varying lengths. Mine is extra long here. But basically, straps are used to extend your limbs. If your hamstrings and low back are tight, then you can wrap the strap around your feet and use the strap in your hands to assist you in achieving the stretch without having to actually reach your feet. You can do this standing by stepping on the strap or wrapping it around your extended leg. You can do this in a seated position for things such as Paschimottanasana that I'm demonstrating here, or in other things of this nature. You can also use the strap while lying on your back for Supta Padangusthasana that I am demonstrating here. Another one of my favorite ways to use a yoga strap is if your hands can't reach one another in Garudasana, also known as eagle pose. What you can do is you can hang the strap over your shoulder and hold on to the strap instead of hooking your fingers. Let's move on and talk about how to use a yoga blanket. Blankets are probably the props that I use the least often out of these three. However, they can be very helpful in certain seated and supine postures, and they're great for restorative yoga. You can use them by folding them in half and having a seat on the rounded edge of the fold in order to keep your pelvis tilted forward to prevent overly rounding your low back. You can use this method in basically any seated posture, and you can also stack your blankets for more lift off the ground. This provides a softer alternative to sitting on blocks if you'll be sitting for longer periods of time. You can also use blankets in Shavasana to achieve several different things. If you have lower back sensitivity while lying flat on the ground, you can roll the blanket and place it underneath your knees while lying flat. If you want your pelvis to feel more grounded, you can fold the blanket and place it on top of your hips, and you can also just use it as you would a normal blanket. you know, in case you get cold. There are many other ways that you can use your yoga props to help you have a better and more productive yoga practice. So if you would like me to do a part 2 of this video, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up or leaving a suggestion in the comments. That concludes my tips for today on how to use yoga props. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you again next week for another video.